Hi, everybody. This is Sarah Bonner once again. I feel like I have a Bonner podcast happening with everybody right now, but I wanted to kind of walk you through some of our assessment and feedback and communication processes for class. And it was really hard to do that in the short amount of time the video allowed me for the first time around that I gave you a tour of this website. So, this rendition of Bonner video is going to focus solely on how we think about learning in this class, what assessment's going to look like, and how we communicate that out. So, because you are definitely a part of this process. Couple of things that I want to showcase on the actual website itself are just resources for parents. I'm going to scroll down here a little bit. If you click on that and you see resources for parents, there's lots of things that are happening right here. I've included the tutorial. We'll go to our blog page here in a minute, as I'm sure you might have heard, we're turning into bloggers in class. But these areas right here in terms of assessment and feedback are some things that you may want to take some time to take a look or explore for yourself. We are a no grades classroom. We are a results only learning environment. I decided to abandon traditional grades several years ago as I started to do Genius Hour, which is kind of a research project we'll get into in the spring. One of the things that I had to reflect after 10 years of teaching, I've been in it for 15, but after 10 years, I just was thinking about how we learn. And I think about, the role of a facilitator or like a coach or a mentor. They're not weighed down with numeric grades or giving points for bringing supplies to class. They're really focused on the process of becoming a learner and really trying to take things that we put into practice and make them more permanent. So I've adapted a lot of those types of thinking pieces into our classroom, and it really kind of goes against the things that we know based on our own school practices. But hopefully, I'm here to take education and evolve it a little bit more as we look holistically or the big picture of a learner. So I want to talk about what that looks like because it is different. Again, I would invite you to come take a look at some of these resources. These are the voices and ideas that have been speaking to me as I've been working in this no grades system. Um, but you're free to check that out and definitely shoot me any questions that you may have. So for our kids, one of the things that we're going to be doing this week is kind of wrapping our brains around that. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to set up a student portfolio. So I'm going to go over to our Google Drive. And what you're going to see here, I have sample students, but it will be your child's name. This will be a folder that will be shared between your child, me, as well as you. You will have access to this at all times. Within this folder, or what I would consider a portfolio, you're not only going to see students have their different units and the work that they're submitting in their different units, but then you're also going to see assessment and observation notes from me. We'll talk about what that looks like here in a second, but I just wanted to kind of get familiar with this space. If you're seeing emails from your student this week, it's because we're in the makings of setting this stuff up, and we want you to be a part of that because you won't be traditionally seeing things on Skyward. This will be your opportunity to see your child's work in a portfolio sense. In terms of giving feedback or in terms of giving like formalized feedback, I'm going to be using this feedback form here. It's kind of a basic way to think about not only our learning standards, but also the things that make learning move forward or to progress this journey that we're on. So we think about participation and progress and performance. If we do those things as learners, we're naturally bounded to learn something. So what I want to do about every 3 weeks is just do a simple highlight of, if your child is meeting or showing progress in these ideas. Additionally, too, if you scroll down a little bit, you'll be able to see content specific feedback, which means, this is the writing and the reading and the speaking and listening that makes up language arts and literacy for that matter. So I want to kind of communicate with you some things that I'm seeing in class, on a very 3 or 4 week basis. as we move on. And then lastly, I have suggestions for improvement if things aren't highlighted, or students want to understand. And we talk a lot about goal setting in here, and I share test results with students. I share assessment results with students. I allow them to be an active participant in taking over their own learning and making sure that they're setting up their own goals and what they want to progress in this year, especially as they enter in high school. So you'll be seeing this form quite a bit in their folders. Like I said, this will be something every 3 to 4 weeks that will be in there assessed by me. Additionally, I wanted to share with you a tool called Slack. This is our Slack page. This is something that students and I will be communicating with. Clearly, you'll see that nobody is in here yet because this is something that we're going to be talking about this week again. But Slack is a really neat tool that allows students and I to talk to each other almost like in a messenger sense. It can be networked on their phones. It's an app, and it can also be on Chromebooks as well. But this is kind of a generic way where I'll be providing just very loose feedback through week by week, whereas this feedback form that we just went over is more of a formalized feedback. Basically what I want to do is, I'm sure you're catching on, is I want to have a conversation. I want to have an ongoing conversation about progress, about goals, about things that they're learning without any type of punishment strings attached when we look at points and traditional grading processes. At the end of each quarter, then I'm going to invite students to negotiate their letter grades with me, as I feel like they should have an active voice in how they feel is going on in class. So we'll be taking a look at their evidence, the things that they have in their portfolio. We'll also be looking at the feedback that I will be providing them, as well as like the informal feedback that I'll be able to give them, or even just verbally face-to-face, as I do a lot of conferencing in class. And then equally too, as we start blogging, I invite you to be a part of our blogging experience. You'll be able to see that. It's 2018 languagearts301.edublogs.org. While I don't have everybody on here yet, I am working on that, and you'll be able to see not only what I'm blogging, but you'll be also able to follow our students as they continue to be blog writers as well. So this will be another slice of what I like to consider a writing portfolio for them as they venture through this class. Again, I recognize that this is not a traditional practice. I recognize that I am given a lot of trust by many of you insofar as doing things differently. I don't claim that this system is perfect. In fact, I'm still learning and changing and doing. I'd like to see myself as a risk taker, and for right now, I know that something like this is what I feel to be in the best interest of our students. So I appreciate the opportunity to try this. There may be changes throughout the year, but I'll be sure to communicate those as best I can. Again, if you have any questions or concerns, this is just kind of a taste of assessment and feedback. I will be happy to unpack this a little bit more, but I wanted to just really showcase again, just kind of reiterating the student portfolio that will be coming your way this week in terms of sharing, the formalized feedback form that I will be giving every 3 to 4 weeks, and then also, face-to-face conferences and the informal feedback that I will be giving students using the tool Slack. All of these materials, all of these tools on our website and our blogging page, which is up here, are all located essentially on our web page. And students should have access to all of this. Again, like I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. And definitely check out those additional resources I've supplied, as well as the other resources that we're going to be speaking to this week in kids, because not only do we have changes in the way we think about assessment, but this is kind of a switch for kids too, as I want them to really think about, for them to be risk takers, for them to be able to try and have a space for failing, and that failing is embraced and it's not punished, and that we continue to have that conversation of their learning journey. That is another rendition of Bonner video. Please contact me if you have any questions, and thank you so much for your ongoing support.